Hi, this is Jared Polak, founder of Entree Results. Excited about another dynamic podcast today. And today we're going to be covering we're going to continue with the topic of the sales process, but we're going to cover probably my favorite part of sales. And that involves asking questions. Now think through for a moment, what is a question that you ask your potential clients during your sales process? What are one or many of those questions that you ask? And we're going to continue through the BASS selling model. BASS meaning build a relationship for the B. A is ask great questions, which we're going to focus on today. S is solve a need. And the final S is secure the next step. So in the BASS selling model, we're focusing on asking great questions. So why is it important to have great questions? Well, there's many reasons of why it's important to have great questions, but here are a couple to think about. Number one is many people, as we've gone through sort of the mindset of sales, many people have a fear about being that pushy, annoying, aggressive, stereotypical salesperson. Now, if you have great questions to ask, it is much more unlikely that you're going to be that stereotypical salesperson if you just ask great questions and you listen. The second thing is, a reason why it's important to ask great questions is, again, in the BASS selling model, the first S is solve a need. So unless you and I ask great questions that uncover what the needs are, the true needs of our prospect, it is going to be more difficult for us to solve those needs. So one, we don't want to be that stereotypical person, and two, we want to be able to solve their needs. Okay, what is the biggest problem that many people have with asking questions? Again, there's many challenges that people have, but I broke it down into two. Number one, and I hear this a lot, is people have very functional or they have okay questions, but people don't really have great questions. And I've been guilty of this myself. So the biggest problem that people have is that they think they have really good questions. They think they have great questions, but really they're not great questions at all. In fact, they're the same questions that are being asked by the competition. And so do you and do I, do we have better questions than our competition? Or do we just have functional questions? Or do we really not have any good questions at all? Second challenge or problem that people have is they end up asking, when they ask questions, they end up talking way too much. This is where the 70-30 or the 80-20 or the 90-10 rule needs to come into place, in that when we ask questions, we need to stop and listen. A lot of times people have a hard time just stopping and listening after they ask the question. So if you're ever in that predicament, there's a little acronym to think about, and it's the acronym WAIT, the acronym WAIT. If you're ever in the time where you're asking questions and you feel yourself talking too much, think about the acronym WAIT. Think about perhaps someone with a huge megaphone with yelling WAIT in your ear, and that stands for why am I talking? WAIT. Why am I talking? And finally, one strategy for creating questions. One thing to think about when you create questions is to create questions that are open-ended questions. Questions that it's very difficult for an individual to say yes or to say no to, or to give one-word answer. And there's a process or a strategy for doing that, and it looks like this. If you begin, whatever question you ask, if you begin with the following phrases, it automatically makes it an open-ended question. It gives the person you're asking a chance to respond in more detail. And some of these words that make them open-ended questions are this: Describe to me. Explain to me. Elaborate to me. Tell me more about. And there's a variety of others, but make them open-ended questions. Okay, in close, let's go ahead in the next week or day or 2 weeks or month and really think through the questions we ask through the sales process. Let's go out and make great questions. Let's ask those questions, and then let's listen as people give their answer, and then we can solve their need. All right, this is Jared Polak, founder of Entree Results. Have a better than amazing day.